Hi guys, in today's video, it's an exciting video. I'm going to be sharing with you how to plan your expenses and your income in Australia. Now, a lot of students, international students, are not aware as to how much they can afford and how much they can work, how much income they can generate, and how much expenses they can actually afford in Australia. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. This video is going to be a little bit lengthy because I'm going to use an example of a student. Let's say his tuition fee is $20,000 and how much he will want to make to be able to afford his lifestyle and what are the things he can spend on. So I will show you a budget planner, and that budget planner is going to allow you to plan all of your expenses and all of your income, and it will actually give you an idea of how much income you will need to generate to be able to afford your living in Australia. Okay. So in here, when you go to Google, the first thing that you want to do is you want to search for budget planner Money Smart. Now, this is an Australian government website where it gives you a budget planner. So this is the first link that will appear on your Google search. It's going to take you to the budget planner. Okay. Now, in this one, you can also download an Excel spreadsheet template, which I recommend you to do that because then you can maintain your Excel spreadsheet offline on your computer, and every now and then you will want to adjust your budget and you will have to review your budget. Now, I would highly recommend that you do that on an annual basis. Not many people are, they don't know how often they should review their budget, but I would say at least annually you should review your budget because your income changes, your expenses changes, your lifestyle changes, and accordingly you should set your budget. All right. Governments set their budgets on an annual basis as well, so you want to have a budget set for an annual basis. Okay, so the template, it looks something like this. I'm just gonna show you the template. When you download the template, it's gonna be like this. And this is the good thing about having a template, an Excel template, is that you can maintain different budgets and different tabs. Let's say this is a budget. It will show up like this, but you can call it, let's say 2024. Okay, and then you can have another tab, duplicate that tab, and you can have 2025, 2026. You can have historical budgets, and you can see, history of your behavior. It really is a responsible step to set a budget. Okay, because a lot of people wonder when they look at their account and they see that, oh, I don't have any money left in my account. I don't really know where the money goes. Like, I mean, the problem is not that it's expensive and you don't spend responsibly. The problem is that a lot of people don't just plan their budget, okay? Plan their expenses, plan their income as well. So this will allow you, this tool is very powerful tool. Don't take it for granted. This is going to allow you to plan your future. Okay, let's do that. Let's get in. I'm actually going to use the website one just to show you how everything's work out, but this Excel template works the same way as the website works. Okay, so let's jump into the website first and see how it works. So let's say, and in this example, like I said, our student, international student, his tuition fee, let's say he's doing a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, doesn't matter. I'm just keeping it simple. He has to pay 20,000, 10,000 per semester, 20,000 annually. Okay. Let's say he found a job for $1,000 per week take home pay. Now this is net pay. This is not gross pay. This is net pay. So after paying the tax, he is able to generate 1,000. Now you guys know that as a student, you are only allowed to work 24 hours a week, right? So let's say your rate is $30. You will make about 720 gross, okay? So I'm also taking into consideration that this person will have some holidays where he will work more hours. So net, he will be able to manage to make a net pay of 1,000. Okay, so that's I'm not saying that he will be just working 24 hours because you do get a summer break of about 3 months where you can work full time and you can work unlimited hours. So when you get that, On average, I'm saying that, okay, let's say your income is 1,000, which is a good achievement. You make about 52,000 annually. And I have the income tax PAYG calculator on my channel as well. You can go and watch that video where I'm showing you how to look at the PAYG calculator, and PAYG calculator will show you if you want to make 52,000, how much your gross pay should be. So let's say your gross pay is $1,000, your net pay is $1,000. Gross pay, you can go to the PAYG and it will show you how much you need to earn to be able to get to 52,000. Okay. So let's say you are single and you don't have a partner. So you're not going to put anything for the partner. Bonus and overtime, let's say you don't do any bonus and overtime, you just leave that blank. Income from savings and investments, let's say you don't have any savings at this point in time, you just arrived in Australia. Central link benefits don't apply to international students. At this point in time in COVID, they did. But let's say you don't get any central link benefits. These are welfare payments, so you don't get any, let's say. Family benefits, not at the moment. Childcare support, let's say you're single, you don't have any children, and no other income. Let's say home and utilities, mortgage and rent. This is very important. So you will have to identify how much rent you can afford, right? So I'm going to come back to it once I've identified my basic expenses, but that might be for you if you're sharing a room, and depends on which suburb you live, it's gonna be different. So let's put 150 for now. I'm just gonna say that's including bills. In a very good case scenario, you will find something in suburb, and you will be paying 150, let's say, and then you find something in suburbs and you get about $150 per week. You pay $150 per week. Body corporate applies to the person who owns a property. Normally it's for flats, apartments, units. So let's say you don't own any property, so that doesn't apply to you. Council rates wouldn't apply to you as well. Same story, that you will have to have a flat or a unit. Furniture and appliances, let's say you don't pay, you have a fully furnished apartment and unit, or a house where you're renting, and you don't really need to worry about that. The renovation maintenance are taken care of by your landlord as well. Let's say your bills are also included in your rent, so you don't pay for electricity and gas and water. And internet, yep. Internet you might have to pay, you may not have to pay. Let's say that's also included in your rent. Okay, that's a very good case scenario. I mean, it's not easy to find something for 150, but at the moment we'll find out. That's why it's very important to plan, because you don't know how much you can afford. Pay TV, let's say you have Netflix and you don't have Netflix, you want to have Netflix, because I will show you how tight it's going to get. You might just share with your friends. If your friends have Netflix, they can have multiple users, and one of them can share with you your Netflix. So let's say you don't have any paid TV. Home phone, you don't pay for that. And landline, let's say mobile phone, you've got mobile phone. Most international students will come to Australia, get a plan, or maybe even get a phone plan as well. So I'll say about $20 per week. That's very average and common that students do that. So let's say I'm gonna pay about 80 per month and 20 per week. Insurances, you will need quite a lot of insurances. Let's say you've got a third-party insurance. I'd say about $15 per week will be your car insurance. You would need one because you wanna, and you would need a car. Actually, you will need. It's very essential to have a car in Australia because Australia is huge, and you'll have to travel, especially for work. If you want to work, and your work is at night or something, car is an essential thing in Australia, so you'll have to use that. Let's say home and content insurance, you wouldn't need that because you wouldn't have your own property. People who have their own property will need that kind of insurance. So let's say you don't have that. Personal and life insurance, that's probably in your superannuation. So that's that you can get it through superannuation. So that's not an expense that you'll be using your take-home pay for that. So let's just ignore that. Health insurance, you definitely will be paying for health insurance because as an international student, you will have some sort of health insurance. I'm going to put $20 there. I hope not. I hope as an international student, you're not thinking about getting a car on loan because the car loans are really, really expensive. You don't want to get any cars on loan, especially. I don't recommend students getting a car on loan. Okay. You want to buy a car, get money from your parents, whatever, and get a car. Do not get it on loan. That's gonna be very, very bad decision. Talking about credit card, initially you shouldn't get into a credit card and interest. They're very, very expensive and you don't want to have any credit card interest. Let's say you arrive in Australia and you haven't got into the credit card. I don't recommend that as well. You having any other loans, you don't have any loans paying off debt, you're not doing that. And then for saving, we will think about it. If you have some money to put in to saving, which I recommend, you should put some for rainy days. Let's say you're not putting any money in your savings. Investment and superannuation contributions are normally paid by the employer. At this point in time, you will not be making any extra on top of what your employer pays. So let's ignore that. At the moment, you haven't thought about any charity. You should do some charity. I recommend highly. And that's tax deductible as well. But at the moment, you've got to Australia and you're just monitoring, how much you can actually afford and what you can do. So that, yeah, don't have to worry about it straight away, how much you should pay for charity, but that's a good cause. This is a very important one. So you have to really manage as an international student, you'll have to really think about, how much you can afford in terms of supermarket. When you go to Woolworths, groceries, LD, which supermarket you want to go, where you can get the best deals. Groceries are skyrocketing at the moment, very expensive. You want to make sure you're maximizing your savings and how much you're spending. So let's say my grocery bill is about $50. It's $200 a month. That's very, very tight, but let's say $50. And then butcher, depending on vegetarian, so let's say about 50. I'm not a vegetarian, so I'm thinking that maybe if you think about a person, they if they're not spending this $50 on butcher, they'll probably be going to supermarket, but or veg market, because that's gonna increase. The alternative will be the veg. Let's say about $20 goes to fruit and vegetables. Like I said, you can adjust these two. If you're a vegetarian, you can say $70 for fruit and veggies, and no money for butcher. Pescatarians can also have some fish as well, or if you have some sort of fish bill as well. So you get about salmon every now and then, $10 for that. Let's say let's keep it that way. And then deli, let's say $10 for the deli and bakery as well. Pet food, you don't have any pets at the moment, let's say, and we are not gonna put any money for that. Personal medical, you should have something for your personal and medical, but at this point in time, I am thinking medicine and pharmacy. I would say about $10. It comes to about 520, and you might get sick and every now and then, and you might have to spend money on your medicine. I'd say about 500 a year. You should keep that kind of budget for your medicines as well. At this point in time, like depending on if you wear glasses, eye care, and all these kind of things, you can think of that. For now, I'll leave it zero, and I'll show you how tight it is still. I'm not considering any of these ones. Hobbies, you know what? As an international student, you'll have a very stressful life. I'd highly recommend that you have some sort of hobby to get you going. Okay, to get you going. So about $20 per week. It's very decent. It's not a lot. It's about 1,000 a year. You can have a little bit of fun. You should have some hobbies and make sure that you do that. Computer and gadgets really depends on that. Gym, you should always have a gym membership. I highly recommend that, because you're gonna have to keep fit with this stressful life. I would recommend, I had as an international student, had a gym membership, so I'd highly recommend that you have one. These days, they're going around for $15 a week. Even the very decent ones, not very expensive ones, I would say about $15. You can get a good deal. Depending on the area you live in, sometimes $30 a week, quite expensive as well. Could get really, really expensive, but let's see. I'm going with the moderate and a decent kind of living at the moment. This is the main one. This is the main one. So you need to understand that in education, as an international student, let's say we said it's going to be about $20,000 for this particular student. It's going to be about $20,000 that he's going to spend on a yearly basis. I'm going to divide that by 52. It comes to about $384. I'm going to round it up to 385. So let's put in 385 here. About $20,020. That's right. So pet and vet care. Let's say you don't have any pets, so that's fine. Pet's gonna drain your wallet anyway. So at this point in time, if you're tight on money, I wouldn't recommend it. I really like pets, but if you don't, you're tight on money as an international student, you won't have time for pets anyway. You'll have to work and study at the same time, and your pets are gonna be really, really upset if you don't spend some time with them. Anyway, talking about tea and coffee, you'll need some sort of coffee. I recommend international students having, going to 7-Eleven. They have really good coffee, about $2. And if they're gonna get every day, let's say $14, $15, I could say about $15 for tea and coffee. Lunch you wouldn't want to buy as an international student. It's still gonna be really, really tight. So you would have to get some takeaway. I would say about $50 every now and then. I think that's very decent. That's not a lot. So $50 per week, you say, okay, I'm gonna have a takeaway snacks while I'm busy. I can't really do that. I don't recommend that you get into cigarettes. Cigarettes are really, really expensive in Australia, so don't have any budget if you smoke. It's gonna put pressure on your wallet as well if you smoke a lot. I mean, the cigarettes cost about $40 $40 a pack. And if you smoke cigarettes, there you go, it's about $40. So $50 for you per year. Sorry, not per year, per week. That's gonna be a lot. Drinks and alcohol, you guys, a lot of international students I know, they sometimes like to drink. So again, it's expensive. A drink in a bar is about $10, $15. So think about that, how much we can afford. I will come back to this if we had money left. I'll come back to these things, but at the moment, I will say a no for this one for now. Newspapers, books, just ignore them for now. Holidays, well, if you had money, then you can go on holidays, but at the moment, it's going to be a bit tight. Celebrations, gifts, and nothing else. Now, transport, I'm coming to transport, which is something you can't avoid. You'll have to spend quite a lot of money on buses and trains. And I've surveyed many students and got to a figure which is an average about on average students to spend about $200 a month for buses and ferries and trains. And you output about $50 per week for bus, petrol, about $50 the same. I'd put $50 as well, because that could be, I'd put $20, because if you're spending more on buses, which is what you will want to do if you're driving quite a lot, it can be very expensive as well. The petrol is quite expensive, and also the tolls can be expensive as well if you live a bit far. So I would recommend that you don't use tolls, but sometimes you can't avoid the tolls because it really saves you a lot of time. So I'm just gonna ignore that for now. Rego and license, you would need a car in Australia, unfortunately, to be able to survive, I would say, because it's very remote area. Sometimes you will have to travel to get to work. Having a rego and license will cost you about $1,000. I'll put about $20, $1,000 per year, so about $20. That should cover your rego and insurance, $20 a week. Repair and maintenance do come up. They do come up, and you'll have to do service every now and then. If you drive your car quite a lot, you'll have to service that every month. Let's say I'd put something there. I can't really avoid that, so I'll put about, let's say, $10, and the repair and maintenance just gonna come up. You can't really avoid. Fines can come as well. You have to be super careful. Every now and then you'll have to do you can get a fine. You have to be super careful, because if one fine, and I know the highest one is if you park your car in a disabled spot, you shouldn't do that. About $550 will wiped off from your wallet. So be careful. You don't want to get any fines. Traffic light fines is about $300 and $400. So you want to make sure you don't get a new fine. I hope you're not gonna get into any fines, so I'm just gonna ignore that for now. Hopefully, you will not have any fines. Now you can see, congratulations. It gives you that your income is about 552,000 and your expenses are 48,880. You can see this is the breakdown of your expenses. You can see the biggest expense is personal and medical, which is 22,000. So you want to look at the breakdown as to how much education, right? So that big pie that you're looking at of your pie chart is personal and medical. Now, personal is education, and that's the biggest chunk. So you're almost about 0.5%, which is 45% of your income is going to be wiped out by if your let's say your education costs 20,000 per year. But if it's more than that, you'll have to be careful. You will know that you will be very budget on your you will be very tight on your budget. And if your income, you have to earn about $1,000 after tax per week to be able to get to the situation. If your education is more expensive, you'll have to have more money. So that's why Australia, when it gives you the visa, it checks your bank account, it checks you everything so that they can make sure that this big chunk that you have of your expenses, big pie of your pie chart, is covered by your own expenses. It's covered by your own money that is already there in your accounts, and then they give you the visa. So that's why people think that you'll come to Australia, you afford your living. It's not that easy. So you can see at the moment, it's giving you that you have about 3,120. Okay. And you can save, you are in surplus, you can save about 3,000 per year. So let's go back to that saving account, which I recommend you put in the saving. But I would share that 3,000, half of it, maybe 1,000 I might save, and 2,000 I'll still put in some sort of entertainment, hobbies, half, maybe 1,500 I will allocate to the saving and 1,500 because the life here in Australia is quite stressful. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to find that grocery. You can actually have, this is a very tight budget, right? So you can have actually sometimes you can eat out as well. You know, you can have maybe one meal. And then it drinks and alcohol. Look, this really depends. So you can ignore that one and you can spend money here, or you can spend money on bars and clubs, or you can spend money on movies or books if you like to read books, newspapers and magazine, or celebration and gifts, because you know you're not gifting anyone something. You might have some money that you can allocate to that. And that's very important that you also put money in savings. So you should have about something for your rainy day. If you come up here, the next one down, I think, yeah, loan savings. So you definitely need to have some sort of savings, about $20 a week. And now if I check everything, it says, okay, congratulations, you've got about $1,000 still in surplus. So you can save up to $40 if you want. Per week, about $40. And then it gives you, okay, now you earn, you are spending everything you earn. So now this is where you break even. This is where your income equals to your expenses, but actually you're saving 2,000 a month. That's a good saving. Maybe if you get in trouble, you can rescue yourself and your situation, financial situation in this way. It gives you next steps. For example, consider reducing your spending and save more money. Each period, work back through the budget planner to see where you could cut on spending. Do a reality check in your bank account going up each month. If results don't match, track your spending. Okay, so remind me to review my budget in 3 months. I think it's a very good thing to review your budget every 3 months. But if you're not doing it at least a year and have an Excel file like this to make sure that you are planning every year and you have a budget every year, because what happens is that you plan your budget, you forget about it, and then you start spending money. What most people do is, and I'm going to just stop sharing for a while and I'm going to talk. A lot of people, what they do is they set their budget and then they become complacent and they start spending a lot. And what happens is that when their account starts going in negative and their start account becomes overdrawn, what they do is they go towards the credit cards, which have very high interest rates, and then they get into the credit card debt. A lot of international students get into that. So you don't want to be in that situation, because that is a really bad situation. You get stuck for very, very long time, for your lifetime, and you can have a lot of stress because of that. So be very careful. Use this tool. It's a very powerful tool, very, very good tool that everyone should have, and everyone can keep track of what you're spending on. At least you're knowledgeable as to what your income is and what your expenses are and how much you're spending and what are you spending on. And you can set your priorities as to what you want to cut down and what you want to spend more, and plan your future. And actually you can increase your income because if you know my expenses are this, and this is my lifestyle, and to afford my lifestyle, to afford my education, this is how much I want to earn. Let's say for some people this lifestyle is really bad lifestyle and they want to double of this, they will have to spend earn double of that. So they'll have to spend about 2,000 per week, about 104,000 per year. So do this, use this tool. And if you like using this tool and like my video, please subscribe, and also watch my other videos about the tax savings that we're going to have next year and PAYG. I'll see you in the next one with a new tool and a new knowledgeable video.